Hey, my name's shawnshawn. I sell art on shawnshawn.co. Today we're going to react to Louise Fletcher art. So looking at her channel on YouTube, she has kind of a detail of one of her abstract paintings. So that's really nice. You know, it's an abstract painter. Then she has fine art, and then she has abstract painter and teacher. A little bit repetitive. You might just want to say abstract painter, or I don't know, I think I would just have Louise Fletcher, but it's okay. And then she has some of her social media links at the top. Subscribe. I don't know if one of these goes to her website. I would just go, personally, I think straight to your website, because all the social media you want to go to your website. You don't necessarily want to go from YouTube to website to Instagram to, you just want all focused on the website. So she has it organized into painting demos. I like her, she has kind of her hand like this, which is okay. I would just take away the hand, to be honest. Maybe with a paintbrush was how I do mine, so I think it's pretty obvious. She has painting demos. She has advice for artists. She has painting process, artist interviews, and studio notes. So I like the colors she's using. Very vivid painting that look great on her thumbnail. So let's go to the first video. This one is called Demo Playing with Ink and Collage.
Hi, good morning. Louise Fletcher, abstract painter. I'm all black and white behind me. And today I thought, rather than just sitting talking at the camera, I would talk while I was doing some work. So I've been working with ink and in black and white, as you can see. And there is method to my madness. I've just finished a major project that I've been working on for a couple of years.
So I like, she starts the video straight, which is the best way I think to start a video, is just look straight at the camera. It's a very YouTube look. Also, you identify with the camera. She has really clear sound in here. It's very crisp. I don't know if she has much soundproofing, but there's no echo, so that's really key. And she introduced herself and kind of the style of work she's going to talk about.
In acrylic paint and mixed media on boards and canvases of all different sizes and shapes. And I've finished those paintings, and I'm now writing a book about the process, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that book will be out.
All right, so let's go a little bit ahead. It's going to be a much longer video, so we're going to skip ahead.
How much I love it, and somehow I feel I should be using paint, but actually I really like ink. So I am going to be doing some ink explorations over the next few months, inspired by that course. And I went into a larger book and started by using the things Karen teaches, and then
I really like this idea of her book. They're like really, it actually feels like little small details of a full scale painting, like she's cut a painting and put it in there. So it's really cool because she's using all the way to the full edge, which is kind of how I paint as well. It's obviously a great exercise to get a sketchbook like this and just practice regular daily painting in there just for ideas, and then later you do a full size painting. So that's a great thing if you want to do a study and then you want to do the full painting. That's really great because you can work on a lot of the big ideas for the canvas on a smaller piece of paper that doesn't cost you anything, so you can really explore a lot of ideas really quickly, and then later you can just scale it up to a painting, and you haven't wasted a lot of material. So it's a really smart way to work.
So I wonder what happens if I add watercolor. And I had some watercolors left over from a long time ago, and I've started to bring it in here, and I don't love what I've done, but I do love this. So there's something in here for me. Whenever I see something that I love, like, oh, there's something in there. And this is what I teach all the time. Find what you love, follow what you love. I made some pattern here with dots. I don't like that. I don't mind it in other people's paintings. I don't like this. I don't like it.
The pattern's okay, but it doesn't look organic, so.
All that matters is what.
Because she's doing it like a very organic feel. All right, so let's skip ahead a little bit. I like that idea.
And then I have a small version of that, and then enlarging it, and then enlarging it even more. Printed off the side for some reason, but that's fine. This mark, and that small, and then that enlarged really big. That one came out blurry.
I think it's a really cool idea to kind of zoom in your shots of kind of inspirational ideas. Let's skip ahead a little bit more here, guys. Ooh, she's going to tear it.
Make sure when I'm tearing it that I'm tearing it in a way where I don't get that edge, although you might want that, but I don't. So I just start gently to see. I'm sure there's a technical way of understanding that, but I don't know what it is. So if I start with this, then my challenge is to make something that I like out of something that.
Skip ahead a little bit more, guys.
Now, where do I want to put, I do like this big slab of dark. So So I could put it up here, overlap.
It's really interesting. He's taking abstract and then cutting it into pieces to make kind of a collage work, which I thought she would use it to really just repaint that, but then she's actually making different work with this. It's pretty interesting. There's a nice time-lapse part of the video. So you can see the... Oh, she's actually... That's interesting. That's so funky. She's actually redoing a painting with part of a piece of a copy of a painting. She's kind of collaging it together. Very, very cool. Let's skip ahead to the very end. I think she's just doing multiple pieces, so.
So keep going with my light paper. And try and use all the little bits.
You don't have to use everything you have.
Don't waste stuff.
See, I would totally disagree with it. I would, if it looks right, it looks right. If you got extra junk, you just throw it away. I had a friend like that. We would paint together in a studio, and I'd have all this. She was acrylic paint, I'm acrylic paint. I'd be painting. I'm like, I got this extra paint, and she'd be like, "Let me use it." And then she put it into a painting that's already done. I'm like, "You don't need to put that in." No, I can't waste the paint. Like, you never waste. I mean, just don't think about the materials like that. If it's wasted, it's waste. Look at the composition. Look at the colors. Does it look right? If it's finished, it's finished. Don't worry about if you have extra stuff. Put it away to the side. Maybe you use it in another painting, but don't try to just use the material for using the material. That's crazy. So let's go to the next video. I think it's a pretty cool way to abstract paint with collage technique with black and white ink. It's kind of really cool. This one is called How I Found My Next Idea.
Hi, I'm Louise Fletcher, abstract painter. You can see that I have not dressed up for the occasion.
So you can hear like the lack of soundproofing. It doesn't have an echo, but it has a little bit of a tint to it, just a very slight. If you put a little bit more soundproofing on one of the walls or heavy curtains or something, it'll soak up more of the sound reflection, and the sound will feel much richer and darker and bassy. Not that you want to have a voice like that as a woman, but it, I think you know what I mean.
I'm just stopping in the middle of studio work to switch on the camera and share with you what I'm doing, because I think you might find it interesting.
I think it's good she's introducing her straight away. She hasn't worried about makeup and all that stuff. A lot of artists, especially female artists, they'll do like a full makeup look and they'll look super glamorous, and you're like, I'm like, you're painting. Are you painting or are you being glamorous, you know? So it's a little strange when female artists will like just look perfect on camera, and you're like, maybe they're really beautiful, so then they're just heightening that beautiful effect, and definitely beauty sells, sex sells, so I don't discourage that if you're a younger painter, why not? But I think it looks something more realistic as a painter if you're just painting straight. You're not worried about makeup, you're not worried about the way you look. You're just painting straight into the video. I think this makes the strongest point as an artist. You take yourself seriously versus you're worried about your makeup. So let's skip ahead.
Because I'm doing really, really intuitive painting at the moment. So these panels were actually, they're all small wooden cradle panels. So they're 12.
So you can hear when the echo off of that wood board, it's because that's, wood on wood, right?
Inch by 12 inch. They've got a cradle on the back. You can buy them online from art suppliers. But what I did with them, these are old ones that I've worked on before that didn't work out, and I sanded them all back to create a flat surface. And then I started working with some very basic colours, like this blue and orange and some Nichols yellow, and then mixing some minty greens and greys. But really just playing, making marks. There was collage on originally, and now I'm coming back and putting collage back on. And I've got this box I've shown before on YouTube, you might have seen it.
And you gotta love that visceral sound effect of the paper and the wood and all the scraping across is really great sound effects.
It's a box of scrap bits from collage projects.
This is a really cool way to work. I'm gonna skip ahead a little more, guys.
There'll be some mark making on this surface as well. So when I'm at this stage, I just play with materials, whatever I feel like doing. And I trust, and I know by experience that this trust is well placed. I trust that something will happen that will make sense. So I trust that out of the play process, my intuition, if I follow my intuition, it will guide me to the next thing that I should be doing. And it's so much fun. This is what I always teach in my classes. What you do has to...
That's really cool. I think she's combining all these different collage elements, paper, into abstract painting. Let's skip a little bit more ahead here.
Important. But where I think a lot of beginner artists fall down...
Stupid ads.
...is they're doing something like this, and it doesn't look good, and they don't know what it's supposed to be,
So they get a bit panicked and then they start trying to make it into something before it's ready to be anything. And that's a real problem.
It's bizarre she's using the torn away paper. I would never use that in a painting. I like the idea of the finished paper. I think that's really cool. But then the shreds of paper is like, but you know, that's the style she wants to work in. It's really cool.
Because you're stifling your own creativity before it's even had a chance to get going. You're stifling any ideas that might come up because you think you can know best, but you don't know best. You never do. Your mind only knows what you've created in the past. It can't know what you're capable of coming up with in the future.
And working on wood is such an awesome way to work when you do collage work. Because I work with collage work, it's the best to work on wood. But you got the volume, so you have to have a large studio to store those work until they get sold. So it's kind of a toss-up. If you do it on canvas, you can just roll it, which is what I'm doing now. I'll start rolling it, and then I can, you know, get rid of my larger work and then just have the other work rolled.
So if you limit yourself to thinking, you're only ever going to make things within the realm of what you know you can make.
Yeah, you always want to be exploring. I totally agree with that. Here's another time lapse in the middle of it, which I like that she's combining real time with time lapse too. That's so fun. She has IKEA instructions in there. It's so random. The way she paints is really interesting. Let's skip her to the next one. This is called How to Make an Interesting Textures with Acrylic Paint. This is what I think I like the best because it's just pure paint. I don't think she's using the collage style. So let's get to the beginning.
Hello, Louise Fletcher here. Today I want to talk to you about how to use different tools to make interesting marks and textures on acrylic paintings.
So she got really great straight shot. She has really colorful glasses. I like that idea. Just a little touch of artistic, you know, quality. She has her hair really nice and put together. I think it looks really good, especially to contrast with style of painting, which is very organic and very like just, you know, just violent almost, I would say, to describe it. Just very bold.
So let's get started.
These ads are killing me.
We all know how to make marks using a brush, but I want to look at how we could make some different marks. And often when I start a painting, I will start just making random marks to build up textures, which I can then build on later.
Yeah, that's a really good thing for abstract. Just work with textures,
And you
play
can
with it.
also do this, so you can swoosh into those textures. And my goal here is initially I'm going to use different tools to make a dark background, and then we can try some other techniques over top with light paint. That's a gorgeous alizarin crimson. Now we also have, what other tools could we use? I got this from the hardware store, and it's for smoothing walls after you've filled in holes. Try what that does. That's quite bent.
Okay, so let's skip ahead a little bit more here.
Is so on my table here is a little strip of cardboard.
The other really cool thing she's doing a straight down shot, so the camera's on top, so you just get a straight shot. You see the canvas. You don't really see the person that much, but she's talking. Ideally, I think what you would do here is actually strip out the sound and then re-record it with a really nice, soft, rich sound, and just say the same thing you're saying here, but then just re-record it on top. That would be a little bit better, I think, but obviously a great way to do this.
I use this greaseproof paper for lining my palettes, and this tore off it. But it's got a serrated edge, I don't know if you can see. So I'm wondering if I dip that in, what will happen? Maybe nothing. Oh yeah, see? I really like that. And because again, I can't control it exactly. So all sorts of interesting things are happening with that. So I'm just gonna use up the paint that's on there.
See, again, I wouldn't just use it because you have paint on it. If it looks right, stop. Don't throw it away or whatever. Wipe the tool, but don't just put paint on it because you have extra paint to use. I wouldn't recommend that. But let's go ahead to the next one.
See
Further.
how I get these different patterns, which I wouldn't have come up with on my own. And
They're
you
really
never
nice browns and
100%
orange.
know what's going to happen. And anything that's a circle shape will make, you know, interesting circles. Now, one of the things I like to do to make circles in a different way, this is bubble wrap. This is particularly a large bubble wrap.
Yeah, this is a classic way to do stuff.
And so you can put as much or as little as you like of this on, obviously. And what I love about this is you get all these uneven patterns where the bubbles didn't quite stick down. And I want that. I don't want this to look even. I'm going to carry that down there and up off the edges there. And that'll look really nice if I put a glaze over it.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I do that myself. I add white and then add color back on top, and then it kind of adds a separate layer. It blends in with the bottom layer, and it adds a nice light layer on top of the white. So that's a really great abstract painting technique. I use it myself.
You can either apply the paint to it and stick it down as we did with the bubble wrap, or you can paint through it. So you can take that, paint through it. I think that will be a bit more random. I'm not sure what will happen there. Ah, yeah. So we've just made a blotch there. But this
Yeah, that's
is
not
what
so
you live
nice.
and learn. Just roll her over it and keep it as a mark. This is a silicone painting wedge. Mine is a real mess.
There's a lot of really cool different...
light paint that went
What did she
over
do?
it,
That area was
colour,
beautiful.
the orange.
Oh, man.
So we can scratch through a thick line like that.
Man,
or
that
we
area
can
was so
scratch
beautiful.
through- This is one of those
But that happens in painting.
hardware store things. Or we can scratch through thin lines. And we could make a really scribbly pattern here.
But this is the real
And
organic,
then if I
random...
decided I didn't like it, I could cover parts of it back up again. You know, there's so much we can do while the paint's still wet with all these different tools. I could try what happens if I scrape with that. Oh, I quite like that. You know, quite like that.
Skip ahead.
And put them into a sketchbook. You pull off this tape and you can get some really interesting effects on the tape. So let's see what we get when we pull the tape off. Because it got very wet, it's just that little bit there. It's damaged the paper, but it's okay because let's say this was going to be something. We'd be putting it in a frame and a mount anyway. What we have here is we have these lovely pieces of collage paper. And so what I like to do is to get those dry, cut them off, and then see, like, does that improve it if that goes there? I think it does actually.
That's a pretty cool idea. I don't really like putting tape back in there, but she's using collage techniques, so you can use any kind of material basically. Acrylic's glue, so.
Something like this with sticking the tape back on. To try making different kind of marks and keeping in mind that you can always paint over everything that you did, and every single thing you do is a learning experience.
So I think she has a really good ending here. I thought she was going to do the large scale painting, which is really kind of what I wanted to see, her large scale painting, but I think it's a cool collage technique that she has a lot of different how she paints. Let's go to her website now. So her website has kind of her signature at the top. It's really strong, you know, high branded. She's got a really close-up detail of one of her paintings. You got an idea there. You got a picture of her smiling, which is really strong. You know, it's the painting website. You haven't landed on a gallery website. You've actually landed, you know, the painter is doing. And this is cool. You got see your learn or see your art. You could just simplify it to classes in art, but I like that. It's kind of clear, you know what's going on. You got a free online course, so that's really slick. I really like that beginning of that. Let's see what this about is here. So it's got an about page, of course. I like how these images move a little bit too when you kind of move it, because it's just kind of a really cool, just a little touch of movement to make it a little bit cooler. I don't know if she's using some kind of HTML code, but it's a really cool effect where it's kind of, the images move around as you kind of scroll across the screen. I don't know how this looks on a mobile, so there might be a challenge with the mobile look, but I think it's super cool on a desktop. Cool, she has kind of where she lives and why she lives there. That's always a cool thing to have, you know, your connection with nature as well. A lot of different stuff. I like how it just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. And some testimonials. Let's see what else she has. A blog, of course. A blog, I highly recommend a blog because Google SEO would work on it and help you rise the ranks of abstract painters or whatever style of paint you do. You'll rise up the ranks by doing that. So you definitely want to have at least a couple of blogs. She has quite a few. It's interesting. Set up kind of, she's got a connect page. So that's normal. She's got artists learn with me. You might want to just say classes and then my art. I don't know if you necessarily say for artists, but it's pretty cool though. It's a really smart way to make a little bit of extra money. She has a podcast as well, which is really smart. It's a book. Obviously, it's awesome if you do your own books. I have 2 small books, so it's obviously a way to make extra income as well as kind of put your foot in the ground, because later people make books about you when you pass, so it's kind of cool if you can control the book yourself and make it your own versus someone else doing it later and they might do something you don't even agree with. Like, there was a book I read on Banksy and it was just horrible, and I was so mad because Banksy did his own art book and then I think he did a second one maybe, so he did maybe 1 or 2 books. And his third book, they just kind of found Banksy stuff and threw random shit together and had nothing from Banksy, no input from Banksy. It was just a piece of crap except for his artwork was in it. It was just so disappointing. I really like these snippets of the painting. They're very high detailed. It's such a great look to the website. I think it's a really strong way to show as an artist, just to have the little snippets of the painting. And these are freaking badass. I like how these come out. I don't know if these, I guess these don't zoom in further. Okay, so you do have, these have already been sold. She still holds them up on the website. It's good to have a few sold. I don't like to do it myself. I have a sold set on my old Flickr, but it does help move paintings. I think if they're all sold, then I would just kind of take this down. But because the problem is people find all the sold ones and they get a little bit discouraged if there's too many solds. So 1 or 2 I think is okay, but having a whole bunch, I don't think that's a really smart way to do it. Really great zoom factor. You get a feel for what the painting looks like, get some of the details, if it comes framed or whatever. So very, very sharp. I think it's super cool. The prices are pretty reasonable. 12 by 12 is 500 pounds, so maybe $700. So that's like this. That's like, wow. I should increase my prices based on this. But yeah, I think it's really cool. She has an available paintings, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why. See, I wouldn't do available, and then you get there and there's a lot sold. It just kind of, it's not exactly, it's fine if you have a portfolio and separate, but I would kind of separate these, but that's fine, you know. But she's selling a lot. She's just blowing out of the water, and it's cool because you can see what her work looks like. Just really, I like her work a lot. Very great color mastery, very good series. It's cool she has kind of a detail of the painting at the same time, so you get a feel for the work. You don't get to see what it looks like on the wall, but you get that really nice detail shot of the painting itself, so you kind of know what's going on. Very, very solid work. I like her website a lot. Hopefully you guys go check it out. I think she has some really good classes as well for abstract artists, which is always good to take classes from multiple artists. You can kind of really learn faster if you always want to take art lessons yourself as an artist, because you can really jump to the next level as far as learning from other people that you don't think of yourself. Or if you work in a gallery setting, you can watch other artists paint at the same time. I've done that myself, and you really learn a lot of different techniques painting with other people. So that's another great way to learn. Or, you know, go plein air with people. You can learn how to plein air together. But that really helps, I think, to learn from other artists. So I encourage you. It's a really great style of painting. Hopefully you guys like it. If you guys like to subscribe, you can subscribe below. And I'll see you on the next Artist React video.